Hey everyone, this is Ayushi and I made an workflow for vendor compliance reviews. So when one company acquires another, every vendor contract that comes with the deal needs to get checked against the new company's policies, like data privacy terms like SLAs, termination clauses, and whether the compliance certs are even still valid. Right now, that's usually a person manually rereading the contracts, and things get missed sometimes, and not until it's already a problem. Here's why. Legal and compliance teams spend an average of more than 3 hours reviewing a single contract. Correct me if I'm wrong. And for a team handling more than 500 to 600 contracts a year, that's roughly around 200 working days a year just on the review. And it's not only because anyone's being careless about it, teams end up buried under the hundreds of contracts because the workload simply doesn't scale, and not because people are not paying attention to it. Every new vendor, every renewal, every acquisition adds more to that pile, and the checking still stays manual. So there's already a real market for this. There are systems which is built for the due diligence at scale, like Akira, Aviscot, and Link Squares, which are handling ongoing vendor management and stuff. But still, those are very strong tools, but they are standalone platforms. Usually a new login is required, a training cycle is required, sometimes a 6 month to 7 months of rollout is required. What I built is a workflow and not a platform for it. It lives inside tools that the team already uses, like Google Drive, email, Sheets, um, Slack, and Microsoft Teams, right? So the logic is fully visible and editable, and it took an afternoon for me to build it. It's not trying to replace enterprise CLM software for a contract due diligence sprint. It's for much more common case. A team that, what do we say, needs someone to catch it when a vendor is like the vendor contracts doesn't cover what it should have been covered by now, and what a big procurement cycle is, right? So when the vendor, like the company, receives the contract, this kicks off when a contract comes in, and whenever we trigger it, the moment in the it will retrieve the vendor contracts information, and then it will go to this review strip where the OpenAI model analyzes the contract. It reads the contract against fixed policy checklists like data handling terms, SLA specifics, whether a compliance cert has actually expired, and decides for each item whether it's covered, missing, or weak here. It's not keyword matching, but it's actually reasoning for about what coverage is real or just vague language. And then the build report JSON is the structure where analysis comes into a clean report, and what's missing it will tell it in a very plain language summary, and even that a non technical person who's in the legal can read about it. And when it log review node is a node where it writes the results into a running tracker, so there's always an up-to-date compliance record and not a once-year spreadsheet exercise. Email reports here sends the findings straight to whoever owns that vendor relationship. So if something's missing, a person knows immediately about it. And then the return JSON node means that this isn't logged into one interface. The same output could feed a dashboard or another workflow here as well. So basically, this workflow turns a manual review that normally takes hours of human workload and only happens sporadically into something that runs the moment a contract shows up and flags problems before they become escalations. And that's the difference between catching a compliance gap on day one versus finding out about it after something's already gone wrong. So for review, like this is working right now, I already sent out an email to myself on another Gmail account, and here's the subject: contracts compliance review, Acme Cloud Services needed, what's the vendor name, review date, what issues it has, what is the summary, a checklist, and then they can reply back to the person, like to the vendor again. So this makes it very much easier for the client and for the vendor to manage the relationship. Hope I can build more out of it and convert it into an enterprise workflow soon.